Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have beautiful, lovely Vinod with me, psychic medium and light language healer. We are channeling Sai Baba today, and I would like to welcome your guides and Sai Baba. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Shweta. I always love being here talking to you. And let me see what Sai Baba is giving me, how his energy is like. Uh, yeah, I would like to repeat for the audience what we were discussing right before our session. Now, he wants to talk about the trail of kindness. So that's almost like his big subject that he would want to talk. And I know you must have a set of questions for him. So he's like very much he's almost he's doing namaste and he's actually sitting down somewhere. Mm. He's almost like sitting under a tree and yeah, his usual pose, like one leg is hanging down and one leg. That's how we've always seen, and that's what he's showing me. Not necessarily that's how he always is. And weird thing is he's wearing a long shirt that we call kurta in India, right? He's wearing a kurta and a robe, kind of a dhoti, which is white, but sort of off-white, but it's almost like dusty, soiled, not
Got
like
it.
the
Yeah.
squeaky clean,
Yeah.
beautiful looking. Yeah. And for some reason he's showing me and he's smiling when I'm saying that. He says I'm close. I like being close to earth, so I don't mind the soil on my clothes.
Wow. Wow. And
Yeah.
I know there are millions of followers and devotees, and me being one, I'm truly humbled by his presence. Um, Everybody, would have this first question. So many people believe that he's an incarnation of Dattatreya or Lord Shiva. Is that true?
He's using the phrase not exactly an incarnation. I do have parts of them, but it's almost like it didn't happen like there was this soul and it took one life as Shiva and then in another life it was Sai Baba. So that's not how
Oh,
it
wow.
worked.
Wow.
Yeah,
Great, great.
yeah.
So he's in which dimension?
He's mentioning seventh, sixth or seventh. I don't know how the dimensions exactly work, but that's what he's giving me. I
Great,
know
great.
it's like they say higher, the more angelic beings, like the ninth and the 11th. So he's mentioning seventh, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
So, but is it that then when we worship Shiva, people even call him as Ram or Krishna or even Hanuman, and are they all part of him?
He's smiling actually. He's almost like he just had a very sweet giggle because he's like, human beings are funny, he says. And he says be humans because the moment that he showed me, he's almost like he himself is also human. So he's embracing that human quality because
Hmm.
the part that he's showing to me is obviously his human self that
So
he
he did
was
have
as Sai
a
Baba.
lifetime here as Sai Baba. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So that's the life that he's showing me. So he's embracing the humanness and he said, we humans are very funny. And he said, you know, we give, we give so many names to everything and everybody that we love. And we change accordingly. If, there are these two beautiful aspects of our life, we would like it to combine. So people relating to, referring him as Ram or Hanuman is because of that tendency, which is okay, he says, if that works for you, which is a beautiful thing. And he says it doesn't matter what name is given to me, the intent matters.
Great, great. So,
Yes.
um, can he give an answer? Like people say that he also resides in, the temple statue. Uh, does that happen?
Okay, so he's explaining the concept of thought forms. So, these, there can be thought forms which we create, constantly sending energy of our focus into something. We can create things and beings out of nowhere. And yes, beings. So,
Oh,
not that Sai Baba doesn't exist, but when even a rock, being part of nature, whatever it is made of, is definitely coming from the earth and it's organic matter, being a rock or a stone. And he's specifically talking about everything. He's actually mentioning marble, actually. And marble statues are very
yeah,
common of Sai Baba.
true,
Why he
true.
mentioned why he mentioned marble is because it's mined from the earth
Mm,
rather than something chemically made, maybe, plaster of Paris or something else. But and he says not that those things don't have consciousness, because anything that belongs anywhere in the universe has a certain consciousness, uh, even the lifeless forms. But he's mentioning specifically the organic, his statues made of organic matter, the rock, the mud, or the marble statues, and something similar. Yes, they do have energy, and it increases with the focus, with the more focus it's given to the particular statue of him.
great, great.
Yeah.
So, what was the purpose of his life incarnation that time as Sai Baba? To bring about kindness?
Uh, yeah. Do remind me of that question, Shweta, but I was just coming. When he mentioned statue, he again, he says, not that you do need a statue to worship me. So he's not all about idol worship. You don't need that. But when you ask, so that's why he said, if you feel like keeping me in that form, um, I'm happy. But you don't need that because I'm always there whenever
Wow.
you think, just like anything, all the other beings and anything out there, any other beautiful light being out there. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Yeah. So my next question was that his life purpose was to bring about kindness as Sai Baba.
Yes. Yes. And he says, um, he mentions brotherhood, but again, he says, I know the modern, term where you're not supposed to say brotherhood because, again, it's like anti-feminism. But he's laughing.
Yeah.
He said, I don't mean that, but he just means, interpersonal relationships between of your fellow human. So
Hmm.
that was his motto. That was why he came here, and to teach that, to show people that yes, this can be done, and also uh, why he comes like even the old pictures, if you see in Shirdi,
Yeah.
I've just been there once, and they almost look like real pictures or paintings. His dress would be uh, something on the grounds of how a beggar would wear. So
Yeah.
he is mentioning being poor.
Mm.
So why he's mentioning that is because you don't need to have an abundance to give.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
He always
that was again
guides
his motto.
to help all the poor and needy also. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So awesome. Does he work with other archangels or other beings, Palladians, Andromedans?
Hmm. He's very sweet. He just said, yes, we hang out. And then he was like, it's almost like, he makes me feel like if a grandfather would use all the terminologies of a child and then show them, that the word? So that's how it's called, right? He was saying. So yes, he said, yes, we have a camaraderie and we learn from each other, and I'm still learning. In my growth process, and he makes me feel he has many more lifetimes to be taken birth on as a human on earth, because
Uh, that was
that's
my
where you
next
get.
question. Is he going to be reborn again? Yeah.
Yes, and
Oh,
he has come to Earth in the form of human many times um, after the lifetime as Sai Baba, because he says Earth is where you get such huge lessons, and yeah, so definitely he has taken birth, and he will be taking more. There's more to learn, he says.
wow, wow. Great, great. So, will it be again as uh, some similar form?
Not necessarily,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
And so, can he guide to everyone, like all devotees, how we should ideally pray to him, or what we should believe in, or praying, or worshipping?
Okay, so this is what he gives. Don't bind yourself, don't block yourself, don't have this barrier of having a particular ritual done or having to go to a particular place, whether you call it temple or whether you have to go to a certain um, space to find that connection with me, he says. He's talking about himself. You can talk to me anywhere. I'm always listening. The intent matters. Again, he says, like he said before, not that he's against temples, but he says you don't need that. There's no necessity that, there's this only, when you go to Shirdi Sai Baba temple, then only you can feel his energy. It's you who are giving that meaning. Also, you are giving yourself that boundary. You are almost restricting yourself to feel me outside that space, feel me everywhere. So you are restricting yourself in feeling that love from me. Don't do that, he says.
So true, so
Yeah,
true. And we need to realize our own potential also and work on it.
absolutely. Yes, yes. And that's why he's quite not satisfied with the term worship,
Mm.
because he says worship is sort of like giving your power away. So he doesn't like this whole idea of being a disciple and um being a deity, almost like a deity. He would rather feel, um, what is the word, uh, love, like unconditional love that you feel,
Yeah,
that's there between a mom and a baby, that's there between two siblings, that's there between a grandchild and a grandfather, something that strong. You don't have to treat me like this God who you cannot fathom, who is not approachable. Then you separate me from your love. That's what he's giving.
great, great. And his book, Sai Satcharita, um, is that having like a thought form energy in it? Like it said that if you read the book, read his stories, it'll give you energy or a purpose in life, or some people even say it's magic.
Okay, so here's how it works, he says. So the book doesn't have the energy or magic, but when you are thinking, when you are constantly reading something, like we know how synchronicities work, you're suddenly reading about a butterfly and then you go out in the garden. If you're in alignment, you see a similar butterfly, something on that ground. So you were in that space. So when you're obviously reading about my stories, my teachings, my messages, you are almost um, you are in the same
Creating,
zone,
being in
creating that
alignment.
same vibration, being in alignment. It's
Mm,
almost like, tapping into a particular station through a radio,
got
sort of
it.
how we channel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's why the magic, that's why people feel the magic.
And will Baba be able to say something about India, anything which is coming up for India and people in India should know?
He's quite unhappy with the fact that he's saying what India is basically going through right now, the whole new variant, the Omicron variant. So he's basically talking about any disease, any catastrophe, whether it's a natural disaster or a pandemic or anything on similar grounds. That's the time when everybody should be coming together. But the nature of the disease and the whole concept surrounding it, the whole fear around it, which is caused by various unnecessary, what is the term? Uh, unnecessary reasons, and it's almost like created, or it's almost like blown up to a greater extent, which is not needed, that has caused so much separation, which is just opposite to his teaching. He's never about separation. He was always about oneness, belongingness, helping each other. So, yes, so he's quite sad. And okay, so why he mentioned that? But again, he says, anyway, anything that happens, it's almost like once we experience separation to such a strong extent, obviously there has to be an opposite, you know, thing
Pull and
that's happening in the world, pull towards it. So definitely that would people would realize how much they need each other in the long run.
great.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, how long does the situation, Baba can see by Feb or March or
He says, you are gonna get some very interesting comments on this because I'm anyway. I'll just give. Don't shoot the medium, guys. This is for the viewers. Uh, he just said, because he just said, you can stop it right now. You can stop it right now. Just like how we manifest in the collective, how the impact would be, we can stop. But stop doesn't mean, suddenly I'm like denying the fact that Omicron doesn't exist. So morning when you wake up, it won't be there. No, that he doesn't mean that. The fear reduces. Slowly it would subside. The body would start reacting in a better way. The immune system would improve. And as we know that any disease has a certain message, that's why it belongs where it belongs, whether it's a particular person's body or whether it's a demographic. So once that lesson is learned, it doesn't need to be,
okay,
it doesn't need to, it doesn't have to stay any longer. Yeah.
right, right. So, maximum people should be working that way, but then,
And he says soon, soon,
so
it's going to anyway. How long it's gonna stay. It's almost like, how do you stop? He just said, not me, he just said, how much would you stretch things?
mm,
Get it? So it's almost like stretched out of proportion. Not exactly what we are seeing on the media, but it is stretched. So how much you would do that to something?
wow, wow.
Yeah.
So, one way of knowing, if people in India are awakening or ascending, how much are they able to spiritually awaken themselves, and how better they can do that, and Baba guide.
Okay, so about your first question, he's saying this is definitely happening in on Earth in general. The collective is awakening. And thanks to technology, people in India are getting to know that, there's something that like that happening. And there's this medium out there, there's this channeling, there's this meditation that I can do. So that was there even long ago, but the reach was less. But now, thanks to technology, more people are knowing, more people are coming forward. That's why all these underdeveloped countries are also becoming more aware. So they are awakening, definitely, as compared to maybe 10 or 15 years ago. And what was the next question? The
How
second
will
one again, Shweta?
how should people focus on something which will awaken them more, or when will that time come when spirituality will matter to them most?
Okay, so here's what he gave. It doesn't have to matter to them. Spirituality shouldn't be their focus. Their focus should be joy. Spirituality is a tool. So you just have to constantly follow your joy. That's what spirituality basically teaches. Be in alignment with your spirit, with your soul. That's what spirituality, the term in general, should mean. But people don't realize it. When they say they're spiritual, they feel they have to go into a certain way, meditate for hours, or not talk to people, or focus on things which is negative. It's almost like, living in denial of everything that's not looking positive. That's not how spirituality works. Follow your joy, but again, try to embrace everything, even the negatives inside you. Yeah, having that awareness and embracing it.
So, is having a, last question for Baba, is having a life purpose, that also doesn't matter, right? Or for that matter or perspective, anything in life, uh, how much does everything matter? Be it healing, be it being spiritual, being in joy, being with oneself, is that the only thing that matters?
All that matters is joy. All that matters is following your joy. That's your spiritual, that's your life purpose. We often think that there is this one thing that, for instance, for me, I became a psychic medium. That was my life purpose. I'm just here to heal people. That's just one tiny part of my journey that, I signed up to come here and do. So I'm a mom and I have these relationships which can be good, bad. So everything in collection, in totality is our life purpose. Basically, however, we can be in alignment with that spiritual path would decide how much we choose joy in every single decision that we take. That's what he says.
Great, great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Baba, and thank you to your guides. And thank you, Lovely, for
He
being
says
there.
namaste. Yeah, you're welcome. It was really nice to get to know more things about Sai Baba. Thanks to you.
Great, great. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Lovely.
Yeah, you're welcome, Shweta.